welcome to my humble abode. It is time to talk about art. Last week I told you some of my biggest mistakes when working with my first clients very early on in my illustration career, and now with 8 years of experience working with different kinds of clients, I've built up enough skills, knowledge, and yes, stories to share with you. Today I am sharing 3 of my dream clients, including what exactly made it so great to work together, so that if you're a new illustrator, you can kind of see the other side of the rainbow and kind of get an idea for that sweet spot that exists with client work, how to get there and how to work with people. And if you're a client watching, I thought that this would be interesting for you guys too. I've had people tell me when I'm working with them oh, I hope I'm not being too difficult. So I just wanted to affirm for you, you're not being difficult, you're not hard to work with. I personally love being able to work with people just like you. The last story will leave you feeling so warm and fuzzy, so definitely stick around for that one. Get comfy, sit down for some story time. 3 dream clients that I was over the moon happy, excited to work with. This first client, one of the things that made this project so special was the amount of trust between myself and this client. Because when you usually think about the idea of commissioning someone for something, a lot of times there's the accompanying feeling of control or loss of control if you're an artist. Sometimes whenever artists are like, oh, I don't like to take commissions, it's because they've worked with people before that it's hard to get on the same page, they're drawing things they don't want to draw, and it's just it's sort of like removing the joy out of something that they love to do. But when I worked with this client, it really opened my eyes to a different kind of commissions that exist in the world. There is an in-between where you're not really losing control over your creative expression, and there are clients out there who are more than willing to give you that freedom. This is just one example of it, but I've worked with many clients like this since. Working with this client felt so natural and free. This was how the inquiry stage went. Essentially, she asked some artwork for her office space at work. She said her office already had a lot of pink and gold, so integrating those colors would be ideal. She also wanted the subject matter to be of 2 girls in love. So the subject matter itself was something I was super excited for because I'm like,
yes, give me some LGBT positive shiz up in here. I'm loving it.
And I also, if you haven't noticed already, pink is my favorite color, so she really came to the right gal. I created the initial sketch and I sent it over for her to review. After reviewing, she decided she wanted to change some details about this second girl to make her a person of color and to have long curly hair. She sent some images and examples of what she had in mind. And so I recreated the sketch and sent it back over with a revised proposal. And at that point she was like, let's do it. And I was like, we love this. So after we got all those details together, I started to work on the painting, and it just felt so light and easy. And I don't mean easy in a technical way, it wasn't like I was like,
oh, this is a breeze
while I'm painting, because that was not the case. All artists know you have the ugly phase to go through, and it's just
part of the process, okay?
There was definitely a moment where I was struggling with how I wanted the figures to lie in this composition. I took a million different reference photos at one point because I'm like, something just isn't working here. And I wanted to get it to work, and I did get it to work. I ended up absolutely loving the product at the end of it, and this is my older style before I broke into my watercolor small joys. This is an oil painting, and back then I did a lot of expressive abstract figure paintings. I checked in near the end with an updated photo just to see if there's any other details she wanted to change, and she was just like,
we love it. Stamp the done stamp on it because we're loving it.
But this project really opened my eyes to the different kinds of clients out there and the different kinds of ways that you can work on a commission together. They don't have to be a difficult project where you feel controlled as an artist. There are clients out there that will give you a lot of freedom with the kind of art that you're going to make. After all, it is your natural creative impulses and instincts that they are hiring you for. And it's just really great to work with someone who loves to give you that kind of freedom and who trusts you with that. But what about when paying attention to details is necessary and required? I also have another kind of project that I wanted to highlight here because I loved working on this project too. 5 or 6 months ago, I was hired to create an illustration for a fantasy romance novel, and this client wanted me to render 5 characters as bronze statues and the silhouette of 2 characters standing in front of them. Now, clearly for a project like this one, where you have characters with distinct personalities that are very important and integral to the story, yes, we have to get those details right. It's not just gonna be like, here's your colors, here's your subject, go. It's gonna be something more intimate where you have all of this back and forth while you iron out these details of how to bring the characters on the page into a visual representation. Now, this project was so fun to me for a couple of reasons. The first of which being that I read these books and I was so freaking obsessed with them. I was like, I would have drawn fan art for this book, let alone have the author contact me and say, can you draw something to be published inside the book. Listen, but apart from my love for the actual content of this book, during this project, it felt like we were really building something together, and there's nothing better than feeling like you're part of something that matters, that amazing collaborative feeling that you have. That's like an amazing feeling to have as a creative person who works with other creatives. We would send voice notes back and forth to brainstorm the best ways to bring this project to life and how to reconcile the way these characters felt enacted in the book with the physical rendering of the final image. And in these moments of collaboration, it really just brought me fulfillment as an illustrator. It just makes me absolutely love my job, where I get to work with other creative people and elevate and amplify the awesomeness of their story with artwork that really makes it sing. I'm so excited. I just got these texts.
The finished piece, I want it to feel like art, like fantasy.
I remember there were a couple bumps when we got to the finishing stage because we were really trying to decide how finished we wanted this image to be. Do we want it to be like an antique ripped page from someone's like old storybook that the characters found one day during this, you know, like sketchy and like unfinished? And so there were a lot of different renderings of the finished version towards the end until we landed on like the absolute like chef's kiss perfect version that the author just loved, was super excited to share in her book. So this last story, oh my heart. So this last story comes from my very first mural job when I was about 17 years old. And honestly, it's the only mural job I've really done for a paid client. I've done like a couple things here and now for like school or class or this or that. And I'm open to taking more mural jobs. If someone out there wants a mural painted, I'll do it. And this job will always hold a very special place in my heart because the clients who I worked with were just very kind and honest people. Like, they were just so nice. It was a husband and wife, and I can't remember if they had just bought their house or were renovating, but they wanted a mural to be painted on the living room area, like behind where their TV hung. It was just going to be like all these different letters that looked like it was from like a rustic restaurant or like something like that. When I was 17, I wasn't really used to charging people for my work yet, and I seriously lowballed myself in the pitch. I think I asked for like $200 to do this mural, which was a big wall. It was bigger than this. It was probably twice the size of the wall behind me here. And that was not even double the material costs. When I went to go buy the paint, I think I spent like $117. So to get paid like $80 for what was probably like 10 to 14 hours of painting, the math ain't mathin'. But they really surprised me because when I was working on this project, I think they could see everything that I was doing and I was putting like my heart and soul into this. And the husband kind of like looked a little thoughtful at one point and he said, "Are you sure about the $200? And I was like a nervous little teenage artist, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's good, I'm happy with it." And I was, because it was one of my first paid gigs and I was just excited to paint. And he was just like, I don't know, I think we'll do something more for you. And he didn't say what it was at the time, and I just kind of shrugged, you know, like I was just happy to be there painting. By the time I was finished with the mural, they gave me the envelope for the rest of the payment, and it is so long ago now I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think they gave me anywhere from $600 to $800. And as a teenager, I was like, it's a lot of money. But they said that they were also painting the house with just like regular house painters, like with the roller thingy in flat color. And they knew how much it cost to hire those painters, and they just would not feel like it was right to only pay me the $200. And when I think back at that moment, I feel so much care and warmth towards them. I wish that I kept better records of my clients back then, because today I have like a Excel spreadsheet. Anyone who ever works with me is on my little spreadsheet, and I send out like holiday cards. I reach out occasionally if I'm thinking of them or if I see something that reminds me of them. But this husband and wife, these clients, are people that I think about pretty often, and I would love to just send them a thank you note. So if you happen to be out there watching, I mean, I don't know who's to say. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being really awesome people to work with and for being one of my first mural clients. What about you? What are your favorite stories working with other creatives or just drawing or painting with a friend? What are some moments of collaboration that just made you go,
dang, I love making art.
Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit the like button to give Tazo a treat. He's been here in my lap this whole time and you didn't even notice. What? That's him being grumpy because you haven't subscribed yet. What can I say? As always, spending any amount of time here on this channel with me is a gift. I really, really do consider it a gift, and for that, this humble artist says thank you. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Yes. Ooh.